doesn't like the look of it as much, so he'll head back through the gate. But it definitely feels like Primal is the one that likes to sort of get in there a little bit more in the fights, at least until 33 has those items to stay alive.
Yeah, and he's also opting for the Vanguard as his first purchase here on that Primal. It's an item we don't see particularly much as the first pickup for many heroes. You know, some heroes will get Crimson at some point, but this time it is extra valuable. You're playing against the Visage familiars, you're playing against the Windranger, of course, so Crimson is a complete given, but it's not an item Primal usually buys as his first, but this game is just too good. So as far as the supports go, nobody is really having a particularly standout game in terms of experience, with the exception of Tofu, who... Oh, hang on. That's a good curse right there.
I mean, that
he was having a good game until that. Okay, maybe he's still. No, he's still.
No, he's still.
Thought maybe I had another leap in this pocket, but no. So the reason I was looking at this was all the supports were level 5 except for Tofu, but now Celery will pick up his 6. Clockwork is almost 6, and Boxy is a little bit off. So it does give a slight advantage game in because they have all their spells unlocked to take fights. But with that, death on the Mirana might slow things down a little bit and get them caught up. Tofu in the last game on Mirana was having very little farm. This might have been something they talked about post-game, that they want to build up the Mirana a little bit more than they did.
Right.
And this time around already, he has half the farm that he did last game at 35 minutes. He has it minute 12 in terms of raw CS. And that will, of course, reward him the earlier level 6 to see if this move is going to be successful for Gaimin.
They're scanning right now on the gate to see if Windranger went through. They're also going to bring the Shadow Demon through this one. So Mickey, if he does not get a read quickly, this is going to be an easy bring down. And I think with this Blink Dagger reveal, jump forward, stun, there's creeps in the way, he can't get the arrow in time. And so Mickey lands the shackle and gets some separation. Now the hook shot, the turnaround, sometimes farming keeps you alive. As Mickey was not going to get hit by that arrow, and they're also going to bring down the Shadow Demon. Boxy makes the move forward, they give the kill over to 33. I mean, whether lucky or good, Liquid are just winning right there.
Yeah, the timing just wasn't the right one there with the creeps coming in, as you said, blocking off the arrow, so Gaimin couldn't commit fully for that, and that's a really nice turnaround for Liquid. Not only do they keep Windranger alive and find 2 kills, there's some soul assumption action.
Yeah.
Visage just gets that nice bonus gold on the last kill, which is going to propel him into a much better position in the game than prior. Now with this 14-minute wisdom, will Liquid actually make it in time? This is pretty close. I think they're too late.
God, that is a big round of people running forward and gonna find that kill onto Celery. Dyrachyo just going to back away, realizing that there's a lot of danger coming his direction. Yeah, and I mean, I think the Crimson is an interesting choice. It's something we can talk about here a little bit too, to help try and keep these towers alive a little bit. But honestly, if they bring numbers like that, I don't think Crimson's gonna keep these tier 2s alive, even if they want to keep that pressure on.
No, it's more a matter of, can you have the staying power in fights?
Right.
We've seen plenty of fights with Liquid once they get this Windranger up and running, and together with the Visage, they have to buy this item on the side of Gaimin. So he's the only real candidate who could get it on this Primal Beast, so he'll have to, arguably maybe you could say, sacrifice going for the build that Primals often want to do with the BKB.
Yeah.
He'll get it later. As we've said a couple of times already, Ace's game is just not that great, and that has seemed like a recipe for disaster in a lot of Gaimin's losses. Is when Ace isn't off to a good start, some of the times the tempo just can't really match what they like to look for. Liquid once again in a very comfortable position.
Maybe again with the Crimson and then potentially having like Gleipnir timing on the Dyrachyo Muerta, there could be something more that they make work at that stage. Liquid already have the Gleipnir completed. It looks like they want to make another go of this. And again, you know, Blink stun from Quinn into an arrow. This should be a pretty easy kill on everybody, but the counter move being made by Liquid right now into these Ancients. If Insania finds them, off to the side, there's creeps in the way. Dyrachyo, does he realize who's nearby? The jump forward, hook shot in. They have the snowball, they have the kill. Liquid just smelling blood in the water and going hunting.
Yeah, are they going to go to try to steal the stack as well? This is kind of slow with just Puck and Clockwork. They'll want to try to also defend. They want to keep everything alive here, bring in the numbers against Ace and the Siege Creep. Can they even stop this push? Maybe yes. The tower will stay alive, but it will be in deny range.
I mean, this is so good too because they're not showing that there's two heroes still over to the
Quinn's
side.
gonna jump him. Instant drinking buddies.
And now they go, trying to find what they can do. And the jump through coming from Ace Control, but immediately broken. Now Mickey goes in with that focus fire. Ace still trying to do what damage he can, but there's just not enough HP on Quinn to go for this fight.
This is the other thing. I was talking about BKB on Primal, but you know, against these heroes, sometimes you also want to get that Blade Mail.
Yeah.
And he can't afford to get everything, so he has to make the team decision here of getting the Crimson. That means once he's in the middle of them, they can freely hit him without any repercussion. So Mickey just doing a full-on whirlwind into his face with the Gleipnir. And Ace cannot sustain that amount of damage just yet on that Primal, so he kind of had to go in for that, otherwise the fight would have been even worse. But once again, really, really nice fights from Liquid. I believe, did they get the deny on the tower? No, Quinn did get the last hit on it.
Okay.
But still.
A tough series of events for the side of Gaming Gladiators, who are now facing a 4K gold lead for Team Liquid, 6-11, 17 minutes in. And while we keep talking about all these items that seem like they're going to be great, if they don't get to that net worth sort of critical status, Gaming are just going to be sitting ducks here. I mean, is this the point in time in the game where we start seeing that patented, like, you know, split push style spread out across the map, or do you think there's still ways that Gaming can fight here?
I think split pushing seems like a very dangerous proposition against the heroes you're facing. Clockwork can get vision with the rockets. You've got Puck, who's one of the best catch heroes on the map, who can combo with seemingly any of the other heroes and find kills on stragglers or random heroes off on their own. I think for Gaimin, you're probably thinking about, let's get this Crimson and try again and get a better angle. And for them, I think the best possible fight is jumping and killing Tusk.
Right.
And then starting the fight and building it around that. But speaking of jump, Nisha has eyes on Ace.
They see him here again. The Wind Ranger moving into position. Two supports a little bit to the north. Can they get away on Ace? It's going to just go for the TP out, but the snowball comes in time. And again, in the grave. And in fact, it's the Visage that finishes the Crimson Guard first.
He's now ahead of every Radiant hero. Can you believe it? Just these couple of moves where Soul Assumption is involved, and 33's game is completely recovered. They even find Tofu, a little freebie there.
And this is what you're talking about, the dangerous split push. Even without the Clockwork, they're finding these pickoffs as they happen. But they have the Crimson Guard done now. Do they decide to get a group up smoke play and fight together?
Do they have enough damage themselves?
Right. Well, maybe an opportunity here. If you find the Puck with the calling, Nisha goes down. Dyrachyo gets the kill. That's what Gaming Gladiators needed.
That's a really big one. Just something to break the map open a little bit, give you some space to get out. Maybe you can snowball off this slightly by at least getting some vision out in the enemy jungle, or counter, de-warding something, just, you know, getting a little bit of breathing room, because Liquid have really been running the show for the last 5 to 10 minutes. Seems like Gaimin have been struggling to find any successful move, but that one did work out. This one time Tusk was not near Nisha to cover him.
Ace, seeing that there's some Lotuses being taken, is going to go for the hunt now. Finding Boxy would be big, and he goes right on through him. Do they have some help nearby? It does look like it, and yeah, immediately going to be a disruption. Okay. Now, Celery there. They'll find this kill onto Boxy. And again, getting out on the map, helping. Now, does Boxy manage to deny out to Roche? Well, he's trying. Does he get a stomp? Maybe a stomp opportunity? No. Ace kills him off.
Couple of kills found for Gaimin now. Mickey is still farming up an absolute storm on this Wind Ranger. Level 16, almost has BKB. Another Dragon Tail.
And
this is a tough one. Not gonna happen.
No chance, and Nisha now shows back up. They're moving in. Power shot, not quite enough. Disruption. Ace moves forward. Crimson Guard mitigating a lot of this damage. Trying to find anybody to jump onto. Dyrachyo trying to stand tall here too, but the magic damage coming through is just a little bit too much, and the hit forward. Quinn not able to save, and now he might be in further trouble as well. And Sadia comes all the way out of nowhere, and the Cogs push back 4 dead. Liquid, they're just looking too good in this series.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, how close has this series really been? This is the upper bracket finals. This is for a grand final slot, and Liquid just seems flat out better today so far in both games. The first game might have looked a little bit closer on gold, but that was against a lineup that was meant to win early. This game, Gaming Gladiators are meant to play a little bit slower and get towards a closed mid game, but because they don't have that early game aggression that they've been successful with in so many of their games this time around, Liquid are kind of just running the show, and they're the ones taking most of the initiative and making successful moves.
Oh.
So now they are gaming, essentially. And what is their backup plan on their side? There's nothing in sight for me that really inspires a lot of confidence that, all right, this item timing for Gaimin is the one to turn things around. Ace is working on a pipe, which is extremely far off. Mirana fell off a cliff after a decent start. Dragon Knight's working on a pike. I feel like a concern for Gaimin is damage once again, similar to the last game. Do you have what it takes to fight through this now extremely tanky Visage and the team around it? What is your damage really coming from? It's mainly the Muerta, and she needs multiple items before she can reliably stand her ground. We saw her just getting obliterated in previous fights a couple times.
Wow, you can see that win probability right now very much into the favor of Team Liquid, and I think it speaks to just the way that this game has not gone how Gaming saw it, right? You look at this draft, you think about a DK stun to start the fight, and then the Primal's there this entire time Muerta's hitting, but the reality of the situation has been, it's been a lot of sort of awkward little engagements where they haven't been able to have that damage you're talking about of the Muerta because there's no bulk in front of her. But a tough situation, and Liquid wanted to put the screws to them, start pressuring this tier 2 tower while Gaming just try and get their items.
Oh, they see Quinn when he would blink away. Hook shot!
Now he does have a Hurricane Pike. Can he get out of here in time?
Yeah.
Looks like he's going to be able to escape before any coil comes out.
They do force 2 TPs though, and they still get the tower, so this is still a great victory for Liquid. Now that game import down there, they're losing some efficiency out on the map, some of the farm that they could have got while just sacking that tower. They feel like they have to help out Quinn.
And of course, an opening here if they want to go for it. Roshan, very much available.
We see again now, Mickey going for the same item as last game, that Revenant's Brooch, which I believe you told me just before this game.
Kevin, so.
All right, so Purge told you, who told me, that, so the downside to Revenant's Brooch is that whenever it's activated, you lose 50 mana per attack, but Focus Fire, or excuse me, Whirlwind, doesn't work that way.
Right.
It doesn't count as attacks in the same fashion, so effectively you're firing out all of these shots with your Revenant's Brooch at 0 mana cost.
Pretty disgusting. And of course, with an Aegis in hand on Nisha, able to set that stuff up all the more easily. Now there is going to be a pipe, like we talked about, which will be a nice pickup for Gaming. But the question is, are they going to be in too big of a hole to make it work at that point in time? I mean, the classic answer to this is like, oh, they're not going to be able to go high ground against us, but nobody goes high ground anyways now. So maybe they will end up doing that right now in Liquid, though.
It is. It is a real possibility that they just try to get it done here and now. I think it's kind of difficult for Gaimin to overwhelmingly win a fight. Maybe they can tie it or, you know, slow them down. But if you're the one taking initiative here, okay, wait, it's like Quinn onto Insania.
Find one, Nisha's there too. And you can see they don't even feel confident going for it. Clockwork never an easy kill, but particularly
the tower is gone.
Wait, what?
He got the tower.
Drinking Buddy's Visage. Okay, that's a thing. That's that's a problem. They Drinking Buddy's Visage and the tower died. Oh my god.
Well, it does have 44 health left on it.
Time to deny, maybe? No?
I don't know. Very uncomfortable position here for the side of Gaimin. They really want to get this Muerta's BKB so that they can finally just stand in the fight and deliver, but it's still 3,000 gold to go here for the side of Gaimin on Dyrachyo. And how do you get that space on the map? I think Liquid are just going to keep shoving in bottom really aggressively, and if you don't keep sending heroes back to defend, you lose barracks. If you do send heroes back to defend, it's hard to find farm. So if they just keep this aggression up, maybe one hero from Gaming can try to find something out on the map, but if you put multiple out there, the lane is just over. So,
dude, they're gonna do it again. Look at this bird, how much damage it does. This is insane. This is like the Invoker Brewmaster stuff all over again.
Yep.
Wow, as if it wasn't already strong enough. Now taking, I mean, they're gonna have a Crimson Guard here, but it's basically a full melee rack's done. Unreal.
I don't really have familiars on my list of personal drinking buddies, but apparently they're great when you want to have a party. You just bring these birds and get the job done. All right, Melirex down, no defense from the side of Gaimin. And once again, I'm looking toward Dyrachyo to somehow salvage this game for Gaimin if they want to have any hope. The pipe from Ace is up somewhat soon. And that is a big deal for mitigating a lot of that damage coming out from the Liquid side. Puck as well as Windranger, largely magic damage.
I mean, that is going to be the question, right? Like, if you're able to mitigate the damage, will Muerta be able to survive long enough to do what they need? Nisha just jumps in and immediately starts to get brought down. He jumped in, he can't get the snowball off. Oh, the calling. Perfect answer to stop that Tusk from saving the puck. Now thinking about going for more. Can they chase down Nisha?
Nice
This is
Gleipnir.
a huge gift if Gaming can find any more heroes at this point. After burning through the ages, they needed something.
Ace really wanted to pulverize there onto Nisha, but not possible. The cast time is too long. Puck, obviously, extremely short cast times. Will get out. They do keep... I mean, under these circumstances, this is already a really good result. Because
Yes.
that was a situation where Liquid, with one more good fight, probably just end the game. So they buy themselves some time, and this effectively will buy them at least one item. The pipe will be completed for the next fight. Mirana's BKB will be completed for the next fight. The Muerta BKB is a possibility for the next fight. He's only 1,500 off it now. So that one mistake, if you want to call it that, from Liquid, opens the door a little bit. They're still in a very, very good position, make no mistake, but it does feel like the types of fights that they've handily won the last 10 minutes are not going to be as guaranteed.
Right.
When a couple of items come out on game, and obviously they're still extremely favored, as you can see on the win probability, but a lot of the time that 10% really comes down to, do you have the right items to take the 10% fight or not? And those items are becoming available very soon for Gaimin, so potentially they could stall it out.
Right, and as you know, the panel talked about, as we've said multiple times during this as well, this is a lineup from Liquid that wants to be hitting hard right now. Gaming,
Yeah.
we're always trying to buy more time. So anytime you can do that, you're sort of playing into their strategy a little bit more. The question is, are they in too big of a hole at this point where they're no longer able to dig themselves out of it? And we'll have to wait and see. The pipe is done. Also did see a BKB completed on Mirana.
Yep.
So more ways to keep these heroes alive.
And she does deal quite a lot of damage. It's not insignificant how much damage a 4 Mirana deals with just the BKB. You pop the Solar Flare, you get 120 attack speed and damage, and then you just leap in and start killing people. The counterplay that Liquid have isn't 100% reliable against the BKB Mirana, so she will probably be able to output quite a bit more than she has so far in this game. On the side of Liquid, though, what big items do we have coming their way? So the Brooch was completed. Puck almost has a Parasma. Unless he wants to complete the Lincolns instead. He's got a little bit of everything, it seems like, right now on Nisha.
Yeah, a bunch of different stuff.
Sure, that's what is happening, actually, with his inventory.
Is he going Lincolns? Yeah.
Yeah, but he doesn't have it in his quick buy, so he bought 2 components for Lincolns, but doesn't have it in quick buy. Now he is going Parasma.
Okay.
This is a little bit odd. It's almost like he changed his mind twice.
Just
back
bought
to
the
back.
wrong recipe. It's fine. It happens.
Didn't read the patch notes.
Well, we'll see. The courier now coming out to him. And, of course, the other thing to watch for is we saw that AC coming for... Yeah, he has it on... It was on the backpack
Oh, he had,
of the
he had a
courier.
dead courier with that much gold in? Oh my god, okay. All right, he's a little bit richer than I was expecting. This
He's
wasn't even
very
on my
farmed.
radar that he could have the completed Lincolns plus almost the completed Parasma. All right. That is very good news for Liquid. That is so much better than I was thinking. I mean, he is farmed, but man, Witchblade, Parasma, Blink, as well as Lincolns will be completed in just a moment here now, 30 minutes in for Nisha with that dead courier respawning.
And yeah, this is the scary thing, right? You're getting Crimsons, you're getting ACs and all that stuff, but you've got a Revenant's Brooch, you got Parasma. This is a magic damage lineup, and all you got is the pipe.
There it is.
This is a lot.
This is a sick upgrade with how much... If you think of the last fight that just played out, Nisha just got 2 major items leading into the next one. So, yeah, definitely keep a lookout for the Puck to ramp up heavily in the coming fights.
DKB from Muerta too, but of course that blink stun from DK won't factor in anymore, but they get the jump on him instead. Misses on the hook shot, and Dyrachyo standing tall. Now Nisha steps forward, knows that there's not much that can kill him. Do they have anything else that they want to throw out right now? There's the shackle shot. They need to keep that Muerta alive. Quinn trying to lot of damage, but it's not going to happen. Muerta's gone. Ace does not have what it takes to take down the rest of Liquid. They are way too strong, and they bought out for this fight. No buybacks, 4 dead. Liquid, they're ready, they're moving. This game is over.
It's just over.
Unreal.
Well, everybody gets their items, and Liquid say, we're better.
Can they do this now? The snowball onto the creeps. They're going to try and end this game right here and right now. Liquid taking the tier 4 tower down, has to jump away on Tofu. Arrows going down, but look at the Drinking Buddy Visage Birds. They're dropping so quickly. Tier 4s are gone. They're not even going to get to respond. Team Liquid closing this one out. GG.
Wow. I mean, a lot of people going into today would be like, oh no, it's Gaimin versus Liquid again. Gaimin historically are doing really good in this matchup against Liquid. But we did see the stats prior to the series that, you know, in playoff situations, Liquid a lot of the time does quite well against Gaimin. It's mainly the grand finals that have been eluding them. And this one, another playoff match that was just extremely, honestly, very, very one-sided for the side of Liquid. I don't think many people would have expected them to come in slamming this hard, but absolutely no problem for them this time around.
It was one of those moments too where you look at the way that the game went on and crowd showing some appreciation for the performance. They have so often faced off against this opponent, and to get the win here has got to feel great. As you can see again, still a lot of smiles, teams that respect each other a whole heck of a lot. And of course they know that this might not be over. These two squads might be facing off again sometime in the very near future. So they're getting ready to go, and the coach appreciating what he's seen.
And this might be, you know, they might face each other again, but if history is to repeat itself, Liquid are probably hoping that they get to face someone else tomorrow. Because, you know, grand final track record has not been the best, but at the same time, maybe they kind of want this rematch. They want to finally be able to break that grand finals curse. They will obviously have a shot tomorrow against whichever team it is they end up facing, but today, they definitely look like the best team of the tournament.
Absolutely. Undeniable. This team, having come to TI 3 times in a row, put together a solid squad, and finally on the verge of being crowned champions if they can just win one more best of 5. As we get ready to head on down to the stage.
Hello, Copenhagen! I am here with your first TI Grand Finalist, Boxy.
Hello.
My goodness, I mean, it's looking a little bright here, isn't it, Boxy? Shall we,
It's a little bright.
That's a little bit better. How does this feel, beating your longtime rivals in a 2-0 to secure your first TI Grand Finals? How's that feel?
Feels really good. I think these matches were super fun to play, and both teams put up like a good fight. So I'm really happy to play some good Dota.
I would say so. Good Dota indeed. And of course, you showed us a lot in this game as well. Like even now at this point, you're still showing us new things. The Visage Familiars with the Drinking Buddies. You know, we also had the Wind Ranger with the Revenant's Brooch. I mean, have you got more in your toolkit to show us?
Probably. I mean, Dota is like a game when there's a million different strategies and small details. And I think when you play it a lot, you pick up on this, like, not broken, but like really nice interactions. And I think that it just kind of comes naturally while playing. It's not like some hidden strategy. It's just like, oh, this is really cool, and this is really cool. And you discover new things every day while playing.
Absolutely, and that comes across in your gameplay as well. And does that come away from the way you guys kind of talk to each other outside of the game as well? You know, when you're practicing and stuff, you know, how much are you talking about Dota over these past few days?
We're just co-workers. When we're done with scrimming, I go back to my room and I don't know.
Those many coaches you guys have available coming into use. Alrighty, well, I mean, I'm imagining you've got a ton of confidence coming into those grand finals now. Is there any worry about overconfidence from you guys at all?
So far, overconfidence has not been a problem for us in the grand finals. Obviously, our track record is a little bit so-and-so, But I would also like to mention that we always come from the losers bracket, and this is our first upper bracket grand finals. So you know, something new.
Something new. Who knows what could happen there? And lastly, are you hoping that Gaming are going to come up through the lower bracket so you can fight them again now that you know how to beat them? Or are you hoping for a new opponent considering your track record with Gaming in the past?
I mean, to be honest, I think it would be fun to play a new team in the grand finals, different than Gaming. I think they're really good, and there's a high chance they will make it there. And it's not because I'm scared of them, because we just beat them. Maybe a little bit this morning, just a little bit. But I think that, for example, Tundra, or some team that we barely played this season, to have a grand final and have like a completely new experience and a new show for the fans would be cool.
Well, either way, I'm sure you're going to put on a hell of a show for us, Boxy. Thank you so much, crowd. Let's hear it one more time for Boxy and Team Liquid. I'm all sending back to the panel.
I'm glad you didn't forget about us there, Nomad. But Boxy, it is so great to hear from him. I mean, he talked about it after their scrims. They're just co-workers. But I know for a fact, there's so many Liquid fans out there. They have their family, their friends as well. I'm sure that's been a great support for them. And going in through the upper bracket, Jenkins, this defies the rules of Liquid. That upper bracket is for bitches.
That is a rule. I think that this curse, this is the best chance for it to be broken for Liquid. I think no matter what, we are going to get a hell of a show in terms of the grand finals. I think if it's Gaming, Tundra, whoever, it doesn't matter.
Falcons, there's literally only one other team left in the tournament.
Whatever.
Everybody forgets the Falcons.
Yeah, everybody forgets, of course, Howie 2000 for different reasons here or there. He is Canadian after all. But I think they're going to be a hell of a show because, like Nomad was saying, they have this tech that they discovered, this Revenant's Approach Windrunner. We've not seen this before. And it begs the question, like, why the hell haven't we? This looks amazing. This looks like it. You were saying that you think that this is the reason they're not valuing Luna as much.
Yes.
Because the Wind Ranger, if you go for this build, is that mixed damage carry that Luna represents, except on steroids.
Yeah, well, you get a better laning phase in my eyes. Mickey did not come out of that. And mind you, in the draft, this Wind Ranger was first pick. We haven't seen Luna be able to get to that level yet. But this Wind Ranger, she's able to be first pick and absolutely no answer for him here.
Yeah, we also need to just describe what the brooch does on the hero that makes it so good.
Please.
I think we haven't done that yet. It's just the fact that, like, when you activate it, typically your right clicks, each right click will cost mana, and it'll drain your mana really quickly if you're attacking quickly. But it doesn't work on abilities. So if, like, the PA Dagger, for example, Wind Ranger, when she uses her Whirlwind, it's not draining your mana. And that's, like, the part, but it's still doing the bonus damage. And that's why it's so good, and that's why it looks kind of broken here, and I agree. This is one of those things that, even to now, like, we're seeing these Lone Druids come out, now the Wind Ranger, the Revenant's Brooch, there's so many different things that are just in the game right now that it's really hard, because there's so many things in the game right now, to keep track of what's good that we're still discovering going into the last day, potentially, that things are still undiscovered.
Yeah, there's like way too many new stuff that's still coming out. Like this brooch thing is definitely gonna be like a staple with this Wind Ranger hero. I feel like there's a lot of like item combinations like to heroes, and this is one of the by far the strongest ones we've seen. The Khandat with the Luna doesn't really compare to this brooch with Wind Ranger.
Yeah, I mean, look, 8, 0, and 7 for Mickey, that first pick Wind Ranger, just having a flawless game. On the other side, though, a hero that was picked up a little bit later on the side of Gaming Gladiators was the Primal. I want to talk about it a little bit more because whilst there might have been that idea for it in the team fight, he could never do anything for the Primal. The Primal was consistently silenced, and I think I only really saw about 5 of his abilities go off here.
Yeah. It was a very tough game for Primal to play. Like, you're playing versus Puck, who has the new facet where he can drag you inwards, which cancels all of your abilities on this hero, making it pretty impossible. The clock was picked afterwards as well to deal with it. And Ace, it's not a hero that is really popular this patch. I know he's good on the hero, but I really felt that this hero was hard countered this game And on top of that, Gaimin, they looked a little shook after game 1. They kind of like changed their whole strategy up. They have this offlane primal. They don't really have any real aura buyers. I mean, Dyrachyo will always be Dyrachyo and pick heroes that he wants to play, but they also have Celery, who's also not playing an aura buyer. Nobody's really buying auras, and that's not really Gaimin style whatsoever. They feel like they're playing for that late game time against Liquid because game number 1, they lost the late game, but they just couldn't get there in this particular game.
The over-adjustment, Jenkins?
It was a bit of an over-adjustment. I can understand why they wanted to pivot after how game 1 went. Usually you will see a team either like ban out the one hero that they thought was a problem and then like kind of run it back and do the same strategy, or completely, you know, scrap the first thing and then do something entirely different. I didn't think Gaimin was going to go that route, just considering how dominant their, you know,
They kind of did both, right? They banned the Doom and they changed their own draft.
Yeah. That's where I think the over adjustment comes in. Is like maybe and in retrospect, it's obviously a lot easier to say this, and maybe they get another chance, but maybe the strat is to just ban the Doom. Okay, that countered us. That was a problem, and then run it back. Go with the Underlord again. Go with the auras. They've looked so dominant doing that. It lets them play the early game. This is what they're good at. Lets them snowball. That's what they're good at. Run it back.
Yeah. Well, look, we do have a fifth person that we want to bring into the conversation because he's been doing a little bit of diving around, going to give us some more information and a new perspective. It's Purge.
Thanks, Nat. Yeah, I wanted to look at how the laning stage went and how that transitioned in this very pivotal game number 2. Now, the Visage strategy that Liquid has been running, they've been playing it in the group stage as well, and it's consistently beating teams because Visage gets a bunch of kills in the lane with the new facet, gets a ton of extra gold, and that influx generates items that generate pressure on the map. But what they did against is they lane 2 ranged heroes. Neither of these heroes is easy to harass for free, so they don't get these free soul assumptions. And when they do have an opportunity to go in, Celery does the smart thing, which is disrupt. When you disrupt, that's 3 seconds of time that you can buy where you can't throw out soul assumption nukes. And then they layered it with Dyrachyo's silence, which with this AoE is going to silence the Visage and prevent the soul assumption from coming out. This first soul assumption in this fight was like 8 seconds later than it was ready to go. So they can basically take a normal fight where their opponent only gets 1 nuke instead of 2. So that was a really cool lane pivot that they did. 8 minutes into the game, Visage is a good 1,000 gold behind Muerta. This is uncanny for Liquid playing that hero so far. But some crucial mistakes Gladiators made throughout the game start to add up a little bit. Ace here charges in, unfortunately a little bit too early, interrupts by the snowball, so he gets no damage out of his charge here. Tofu ends up going down, but they're looking to trade heroes, which is looking decent for them. They didn't get full TP rotations from the Gladiator side. And then Celery here, TPing in, coming over to try to help the fight, but unfortunately he gets gone on by both Puck, who's full HP from a regen, and Visage. That's going to finally get 3-3, his first kill in the game, and some gold influx, and he also cleans up Ace as well. So this catches him up finally. This is a really big moment for them. And then ultimately, this transitions really well because Liquid just starts playing really, really, really fast on the map. They get this kill on Celery. We'll go back in time a little bit. Another crucial mistake for Gladiators here. Quinn blinks in to catch Mickey. There's supposed to be an arrow follow-up, but unfortunately he doesn't stun right away for some reason. He uses Breathe Fire, and at this point, he's behind all the creeps. These are providing interference here, so they just can't get the stun follow-up. These are crucial mistakes that Gladiators normally doesn't make, but for whatever reason, small mistakes here add up. They lose heroes, and Liquid takes that advantage to snowball the game.
Thank you so much, Purge, breaking down all those intricate details there, how just a slight misusage of a spell, just charging in a little bit too early, unfortunately, undoes all of that hard work Gaming Gladiators had in that laning phase. And they were a team that we coined as someone that was strong in their lanes, and they knew how to transition out of them into the snowball. And now it felt like Liquid are the team that we have to describe that way, Winter.
Yeah, this game is definitely like I feel like the tail of the two carries the difference of the Wind Ranger and the Muerta. Muerta is a lot slower. He tried to come to some of the fights, but I think the crucial one we saw in the replay was a 20-minute fight. He showed up in the middle tower. He came with a force stop. He came with a maelstrom, whereas the Wind Ranger came with a Gleipnir, and he came to the fight and he actually killed Dyrachyo off. You know, that's like a very, very clear example of why Wind Ranger is very, very strong in those early fights. And where Muerta is a lot slower. You know, you need to farm stacks, you need to go back, you need to wait for your items, you need to wait for your BKB. Whereas a hero like Wind Ranger doesn't really need it.
No, she's a like 0 item hero, and she can be effective, which is why she's played as a support a lot of the time. Maybe not so much these days. Whereas Muerta, I feel like, is more of like a 3-item carry. You can show up with like 2, maybe and a half items. If one of them is like a Force Staff, Maelstrom, something like that. But Windrunner, she's fine just walking to a lane and power shotting.
If you're just tuning in, unfortunately, that's our upper bracket finals all done. A 2-0 for Liquid. They make their way to the grand finals. We don't know who exactly is going to be meeting them just yet, as we still have 4 teams in the running. So we're going to jump on back down to that lower bracket. It's Falcons up against Tundra, but before we get there, let's hear from Falcons themselves.
So far, my best moment at this tournament is definitely us securing a game in front of the stage in the Royal Arena. And this time around, it's